The province of Alberta delivered its spring budget Thursday afternoon, and Alberta's Finance Minister Nate Horner has introduced a budget that projects a $5.2 billion deficit this fiscal year on a total spending of $79 billion. To talk more about this is the Alberta Director for the Canadian Taxpayers Canadian Taxpayers Federation, Chris Sims, who joins us from the rotunda of the Edmonton legislature. Chris, is this budget what was expected of Albertans? Because I know they mainly had their sights set on some tax rebates.
It was a yes and a no. So a big yes when it comes to Premier Danielle Smith keeping her election promise to reduce the provincial income tax. So a lot of folks may not realize this, but up until today, Albertans were kind of paying high provincial income taxes. So it was at 10% if you're earning up to $140,000. So that was, covering most of the working and middle class of this province. So what they've done is they've reduced that down to 8% for the first $60,000 worth of earnings. What that means in reality is that the average Alberta worker will save around $750 per year. If you make that into a two-person working family, that's more than $1,500. I did the math, and that covers more than a month's worth of groceries for a family of four. So these are big-time tax savings. We're really happy to see that, but this deficit is definitely causing concern.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of wins here for the Alberta taxpayer. What are some other wins, and where are we losing out here?
So one small silver lining is that at least the interest we're paying on the debt is costing us slightly less this year than it was last year. But that's thanks, of course, to the interest rate being lowered over the past few months. But we'll take a silver lining where we can get it. So some red and some yellow lights here is that, of course, we have now a $5.2 billion deficit. That is not the direction we want to be going in. Now, we do understand we have a U.S. President Donald Trump-shaped cloud of uncertainty hanging over the province because, of course, if he puts tariffs on our oil and gas exports, that hurts the bottom line here for the government of Alberta. So we are being understanding, but if you go back and look at their spending increase, it's a lot. They're spending about $5 billion more this year, budget to budget, than they were last year. It's a spending increase of just over 8%. So that is actually a really big jump in spending. So we're pleading with the government to go line by line through the budget, find some savings, and really work on getting it back into balance. We were concerned also is that there's no projection to get back into balance. So that's a bit of a concern as well. Usually we'll get a deficit year and then we'll hear the finance minister saying it's okay in a few years we're going to be back into balance, but there's no projection of balance. We're hopeful that will change as soon as this tariff thing is sorted out. But as of right now, there's just a lot of uncertainty. The good news is we do get our tax cut. And the more issue of concern is that they really got to work hard to bring this budget back into balance.
That was Chris Sims, the Alberta Director for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, joining us from Edmonton.